Hello, my name is Mrs. Elizabeth Lojede. I'm the chair of Integrators Charity of United Kingdom. We're based in Hackney.
Well, the oppressors are trying to keep me down.
Integrators' main purpose is to deliver a wide range of projects in health, education, and employment incentives to Black minority. As we're based in Hackney, which comprises of about 85% of Black minority, we established here to help those numbers. Among our activities that we have run in the past is IT training. When we started in 1990, a lot of people haven't got the knowledge of IT. Some people are scared to go near the computer. We've run IT for the youth. We've run IT for the over 50s, those who think they cannot learn how to use IT. We were able to get a lot of people going to start using IT. We did health and social care training for people here in order to promote employment. That was funded by Award for All. And after we've done all this, in the 2005 to 2006. In the recent years, we've got the BBC Children in Need. They funded us for the homework club and also to help the children to upgrade them with interview techniques, which we're very grateful for because children did gain out of this. And the next program we're doing now is funded by Heritage Lottery. And the Heritage Lottery want us to do a research about people born here in the 50s, how they live it in the 50s and 60s.
My name is Caroline. When I first come to this country, things were not as hard as it is. And we are friendly, you can help others. When you see somebody who is in need, you can easily help the person. But these days, the person you help is going to be your enemy.
Really?
Yes, and things were not as expensive as it is now.
Me, I think life is easier by that time.
Life is
This is not difficult like now. Sorry to say.
okay. Life was easier then.
Easier by that time, and easy to get a job.
Okay.
Although with a little money, but that little
But
money,
we're able to survive.
that little money we're enjoying it than some people. Yeah, of course, it's because now they can get 2,000, 1,000 a week. See, they still grumble that it's not enough. But now, by that time, that is easy anyway.
When you go up and look at any billboard, you see in this country no dark, no Irish, no West Indies.
Okay.
Yeah,
So how do you still get the accommodation?
yeah. So accommodation was very hard. Now, these kids live in paradise now and then don't know.
Wow.
They don't know.
I first came to England when I was 17. And then went back home, to have my second baby. Because I lost my first one here. So I did, decided to go back. But came back in the first place in the 60s. It was terrible. I was a nurse. I trained as a nurse and remained a nurse till I retired. But the experience when you want a house was terrible because you rent privately in those days. It's either no dog, no animals, no Irish, no blacks, or no nigger, whichever one they want to call us. So you have to contend with that. Work-wise, I have no experience of never working, because as I said, I trained as a nurse, but remained a nurse. And housing, I was okay, but I was lucky. I took a one-bedroom flat. But we all used to live in one bedroom. Husband, wife, and children. And we had this heater. We are all lucky we have central heating today. We had this paraffin heater. You are lucky you haven't burned somebody else's house down. We were very lucky. But otherwise, life was tough. Salary was peanuts, but we seem to manage on the peanut salary.
Okay.
Because one thing about Nigerians, we know our limitations. You won't be earning £5 a week and then spending my age.
Yes.
You won't be earning £5 a week and spending £20 on unnecessary things.
So that was manageable.
Life was good.
And they think that they have got me on the run. I say forgive them, Lord, they know not what they've done. Because as sure as the sun will shine, I'm going.
When we first came, things were not like this, as it is now, That time, you go and look for a job, they'll tell you, sorry, not black. The governor of this job says we must not employ any black. That's what they always tell us. Even to rent a room, some will put sorry, no black by the window. After some time, the government legalized it and they mustn't do that anymore. Then they stopped doing that. Things are not that good at all at that time when it comes to a job or rent a house or anything. No, things were not as good at all. And that maybe people have been telling you when you have a child, it's another problem. To go to work, you have to look for minor.
In those days?
Oh yes, in those days, you have to look for minor. Or foster mother.
Foster parents.
Okay. Also, as time goes by, things are getting better. I mean, at this time, paraffin heater is common. But after some time, it died down. The government stopped it. And every household must start radiator, central heating. That's why we are using central heating.
The class system was on in the 60s and 70s. So you are either the first class, the second class, or the third class. You are rated as a third class citizen. And not until the mid-80s, then the class system diminished. In the 60s, you can feel the class system very well because they look down on the blacks and they are reckoned as the third class citizen, not even second class, third class citizen. So you are nobody in the 60s, 70s, no matter how high or how wealthy your parents or whoever you are. You are being classed as the third class citizen. So you have no chance at all,
We used
to be difficult. There's no housing are poor. Nobody want to give you their house. And fewer ethnic minority has got hold of property. And a few Nigerians that got they exploit we students. So it's been like this for almost as long as I can remember. It's only the who have always be privileged. Those who don't, they are always at the rock bottom. And it still remain like that.
Okay.
And you don't believe all this what these politicians are telling you. They all tell lies.
So will you say now compared to, if you can take your memory back, is it slightly better or you think it's the same?
Well, you can say it's a little bit better. People are wiser. Those days you live in fear.
Okay.
You can't do anything. They always frighten you. If you go beyond your boundary, they send you back to your country or something like that. But now, well, for me, I know the history. Coming here is not as if I come here as what is not. They came to my own country and took everything here, and we built this country. The black people are the one who done the most dirty wars around, and now they're talking about immigration. They only talk about European. What about us, the colony, the empire? They never talk about us. We are always at the bottom.
So as sure as the sun will shine, I'm gonna get my share. What's mine?
To be honest with you, I felt kind of displaced because
When you came.
my accent was different.
Okay.
I've been laughed at. Even though I knew things because of the way I pronounced them, I couldn't get my knowledge across to the teachers and that in school. So that was frustrating.
Yeah.
Life was different because the houses are different, so everything is strange. It's really strange. It's weird. We thought these houses were factories when we came.
Okay. There was a lot of factories.
We thought they were factories,
Okay.
but they were actually houses.
All right.
You know?
In those days.
Yeah. Met up with a lot of racism from the National Front
Okay.
during my school years, which made me stronger really, because I'm thinking, why are these guys troubling me and I haven't done them anything, which made me look back at the history, where racism is coming from, and it obviously took me back to the slave trade, which took me back to where I'm originally from, which now I'm left thinking, well, what food am I eating? Is that what I was eating? Is this what should be nourishing my body? So it's just brought me on a really long journey, which I'm still on. I'm still here, so I'm still
So
on.
compared life at that time compared to life, what did you see?
The
A lot of
difference
changes?
in what respect is it you're talking about? Social?
Well, in general.
In general, there's been a lot of changes.
Housing,
Housing
job.
differences. Jobs don't exist as they used to. You used to be able to walk into a job. As soon as you left one, you could walk into another one. Now,
In those days.
Now there aren't any jobs, and we were allowed to work. We were allowed to do our little paper rounds and work in the sweet shops back then. Now you have to be a certain age before they even give you a paper round. So I understand. So there's a lot of negative changes. Positive change is that more black people are now educated themselves.
Harder they fall, one and all. Ooh, the harder they come, the harder they fall, one and all.
First came here, it was a culture shock.
Okay.
Because I came to Southampton, and I remember the first time I came here, I came into a winter, and the most surprising thing was to see the smoke coming from the chimney outside the houses there. So I thought that it was, all right Rupert, I thought that it was like a bakery, because in the West Indies that's how we bake bread. So, but when I came here, I find it was very culture shock. It took me a while to really settle down and try and make something of my life. Yeah.
So in those days, what is the difference you can see compared to now?
Now more
how you live it,
yeah, more socialized.
Reflects into now.
Yeah, more socialized because my father was the first black man that bought a house in Clapton Square.
Okay.
He was the first black kid that lived there. And we had our windows smashed out every night. In the 60s, 1964, we had that problem. But now things is getting more better, more relaxing, you know, to me, you know, and then tubing, I don't really spend.
So how do you see Acne when you start living here?
Acne changed a lot.
Okay.
Acne changed a lot. Acne is developed because when I came here in the 60s, it was war damage. There was a lot of the buildings was still
Acne was damaged.
By the war, you know. So it changed a lot. It developed a lot, you know.
Okay.
It developed a lot, but I don't know if it's for the better or for the worse, but it developed a lot.
It was very bad for them people. They was Irish and they was telling us to go back home and they didn't want to see no color. People, you can't get a job. You know, all this, they don't want to rent houses for you. That's why they take them places and break it down and make all these houses for everybody. But if you want to go to the bus, to take a bus, they hold the thing. It's true, and you cannot come. It's only their color. When they fight one, because I keep telling her to behave herself. As I tell you, if you understand, even though they did have the job, they don't want to employ you. And you was in the labor exchange. Yeah, it's not much money you get in. They say need to work 3 pounds, 4 pounds. And if you not, and they don't want to. That time they wasn't. Them people couldn't. They did not children. If you not married here, they sending you to Australia. But as we come, they used to call us bastard. You don't care if you married or not. You have your children. Now everybody was children. It was a big fight. That I tell you, they would read. They put on the board where they're selling newspapers. They used to put this in no color people. They also call you color. You can sleep outside government and not do nothing. They don't want you there. They used to call you bastard. It's true, you know.
So compared to now
you are in heaven. They don't bother you much. You better now.
In the 60s, the time first of all came to this country, this place to be, I don't know how to explain it. It wasn't too civilized, and people used to go to people's house and pray through the door, and loot so many houses. And that time as well, some toilets will be at the backyard toilet. You see some toilets at the backyard, private houses, and no heater in the house, no central heating. We had to put on a paraffin heater during those days, calorie gas. Then there wasn't central heating at all. So Sisi wasn't too brilliant. It wasn't too brilliant at all. You see people gassed on the street, fighting, fighting each other, and it wasn't too nice. Though that time we were enjoying it in a way, we can't see it like that. It was now we are seeing it how it is, and in Hackney those days, you see some empty ladies outside, for call, stand along the roads everywhere. At times you to go and you to be afraid. At times you start your bag when you are walking, somebody just strike your bag like this. When you look at the bag, you run away. There's nothing you can do. You report to the police, the ways we look is they say they can't find them because there's no evidence. There's no CCTV to locate them or to get them who they are. At times they go to shop and take something from the shop. At times, especially when in winter it used to be terrible. That time before 2 o'clock, the day is already dark.
Wow.
Oh yes, but now you can't fight anymore. And during those days, there used to be a lot of snow everywhere.
Very cold.
It used to be so, snow is like rock. You know, even to go out, you're afraid to go out because it used to be so cold. You see snow everywhere. You know, I remember there was a week nobody go anywhere because of winter. It was very, very frozen and cold.
Everybody was dancing still.
Yes,
house.
everybody had to stand still in the house during those days. And the buses wasn't like this as well. Even transportation wasn't like this during those days. You know, that time it would be a driver and a conductor that time. You know, the other bus that's taken away now. We thank God for everything. You know, it would be like that. And people used to smoke anyhow. No conscience, no any law that say, oh, don't smoke. They can smoke anywhere in the pub, in the house, in the car, in the bus, in the train, in the tube, everywhere. They smoke a lot. Drinking, nobody to query them, why are you doing that? But now we thank God that it's not like that anymore. You know, during that time. And another thing again, the children wasn't misbehaving as it is now. Those days there was a discipline in the school. I remember at that they used to cane them. That time, I remember in 60 days, 50, 60 days to cane them when they are naughty.
In the school.
In the school, you know. And
all that is taken away now.
All that is taken away now, which is not very fair. Because it's discipline. Because the Bible says, cane your child, you know, and spread the rod. So you have to train a child. The Bible says to the book of Proverbs, chapter 22, 6 said, train your child the way to go, and when it's old, you not depart from it. But we leave all those things, you know, we are not really following it because the only thing I like this country for, it was brought by Christianity. That's how they call it Great Britain. Because this country was really, they know Christ during those days, you know, unlike now, they know Christ very well. There was a discipline then.
Okay.
Especially concerning the children, the way it's not at all. Children doesn't misbehave. When you say child, yes, even in the school, you know, even the when you go as your teacher, eyes on the no, we say, it's brilliant boy, it's good, naughty child. That need to be brilliant for concerning education then. There was a law that any child do not discipline them, you know. They was really disciplined that time. You know, and now I got to the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000. So things have changed a lot. We thank God, you know, because happening that time, there's a certain area which I won't mention.
Okay.
Just for the security sake, I won't mention it. There was an area in this country that people doesn't like to go and live because they are scared. Because before you come back from work, they already break into your apartment and took all your things that time. Because it is, I won't mention the area, but it's still happening that time. You know, so it's a thing that in that system, breaking so many things was happening. But we thank God that now. We thank God for happening, bro. It has transformed so much, tremendously. It really transformed. Now people, it's even many people that want to live in Hackney. Because Hackney is like it's a city now. You could see all the education, academy everywhere, transform, new houses. Because during those days, 60, 70, 80, there is a lot of house that is even abandoned. They have to rebuild them and put it in order. Okay. So we thank God, especially the mayor of this Hackney. I thank God for them. They really try a lot. The mayor and the councillors. And I thank God for their life. And I'm proud of them too. They do a lot in this community, this borough.
Elizabeth, how things have changed over the last 20 years. Can you tell me about education over the last 20 to 40 years?
Yes. Things have really changed, and there's a lot of changes in education. In that, when we were here before, it was very, very difficult to get into nursing. Most of the ethnic minority want to be a nurse, the amount of what they need, the A level they need, was like a deterrent to enter into nursing. But a lot of people have to go and do the A level first before they can start the nursing. But now it's not like that. Everything has changed. People can just do, go into care or something and then they jump into nursing. But it wasn't like that in those days.
So how difficult was it in those days?
In those days, it was so difficult that for a black person who's living and married to go into education is tough, pretty tough. That some people use foster parents, some people have to take their children into a very far place so that they can progress in life. Whereas nowadays you have childminder that you can take your kids to very close to your home and you can take your child back to your house in the evening. In those days, you just have to keep them away. Maybe in outside London, it takes 4 weeks or 2 months before you check on them. So things are not really easy in those days. In terms of job, yes, there are jobs. Employment were good, but most of the employment that black people do in those days were the low paid job. Like
what sort of low paid jobs were they?
Like doing catering job, doing waitressing job, doing cleaning, house domestic job and factory work. In Hackney there was quite a lot of factory in Hackney.
In terms of discrimination, did you find a lot of discrimination in Hackney when you first came here? And what sort of discrimination was it?
Yeah, there was a lot of discrimination in that housing was a problem. If you go for housing, some people will just tell you the room is not there. And as soon as you walk through the door and they know that you're black, you just can't get the room. And even with the government housing, it was very difficult to get into house. But we have some few blacks that was able to raise funds and buy their own house. They were the one that make a little bit of difference for the black people. They were able to let to their own colored people.
But registering your charity was, 20 years ago? What about 40 years ago? What made you think all those years ago maybe you want to open a charity? What did you see then?
I don't even think I will have the incentive of doing it. You just don't have the incentive because there's quite a bit of discrimination in workplaces that you go and work.
Yes.
So I don't think that I can never dream that I want to open up my own business because there's discrimination at work. You can walk in sometimes into a place that the job is there and you are told that sorry, it's gone.
Okay.
So to find a job is pretty tough. So you can't even think of it that you want to open your own business. It wasn't.
Tell me about how food has changed over the last 40 years.
Yeah, that's another pretty
When you
thing.
first came here, what was the food like?
The food, you have to get used to eating what you find here because there was no provision for the food back home, and many people, maybe when they're coming, they buy and send to you, but you couldn't purchase anything that is for the minority here. Compared to now that there's every corners have food for minority, there wasn't none at all. You couldn't even dream about it. You just have to live with what is in the locality for your.
And what did you like? And what did you like or dislike about the food back then?
I don't really like. There's too much fish and chips, and I don't really like fish and chips because it's too oily. And thank God I wasn't in the habit of liking it because it's now coming that it's not even a healthy food.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but what I used to like that time, I like the cabbage because it's fresh. I like when you do maybe stew, steak stew, all these things closer to the way our own way of eating.
Yes.
So I love those food.
What about things like the buses or the trains? How did you find transport back then?
Transport was a little bit difficult because and also expensive. And then in terms of if where you are going to work, you need train. Sometimes the train was running 30 minutes, and the tube was not going too far. There's a limit to where the tubes were going. But nowadays, you got so much going on. You got, in terms of acting here, you have overground extension. You have everything going to Stratford, whereas the reliability was on bus.
Okay.
In those days.
The final question I want to ask you is about the weather, because a lot of people that I've spoken to have mentioned the weather to me. How was the weather for you when you first came here?
The weather was so freezing. The weather was bad, and no amount of heating that you put on, you still feel the coldness. And the snow was horrendous. Now we don't even see much of snow.
But back then, how bad was it back then?
It's so bad that sometimes when you want to open the door of your house, the snow is halfway of your boots, and to open the door is problem. Your hand is freezing as if you just come out of the cold freezer, and everything has changed now. The global warming has put a lot of pressure on the weather. There's no snow around.
If there's anything that you'd like to change from 40 years ago to now, what would it be? If there's something that you had back then that you'd like to have now, what would it be?
Something
That's something that you had back then that you don't have now. What would it be? Would it be better neighbours? Would it be better weather? Would it be better food? What would it be? And why would it be that?
What I used to have then that I want to have now.
Back then?
I don't know. It's very difficult because the rate that you can reflect all these things back, this is a better life than all those days. There is no comparison. I cannot even equate anyone that I want to go back to, because it's not a good experience. Now we're enjoying. It's a better experience of life.
Thank you very much.
I was very young when I was in Hackney, and since around there, we're very young. I'm living in a very, very rural area, which is called Hackney local government. And the local government, they have a gangsters, and some of the places are vandalism houses. And some of the houses have got no baths, got no where to shower. So they go out to go and bath outside, and most of the people there, most of the whites, they are very caring for people, and people are very, very scared to move on the street because you can see most of them because they are vandalism and they are gangsters. Most of the things that it is hatred to the government they are doing, and people are very scared. But now things are coming better because of the new structures and the new places in Hackney.
But I can't seem to find my way over.
Doing this is very, very bad in Hackney.
Life in Hackney.
Life in Hackney is very bad for any black man.
It is front room special.
It's only for a black man. You see, if you're a black man, if you are not really good in there is always mocking and abusing. Even if you are going on the street, they curse you. Then if you in the house, if you are in the house, you use cold to heat the house.
You do cold.
To heat the house, and then paraffin. And when it's finished, oh God, you know the house will be cold at that time. But these days it's different. We have central heating and everything is more lively, and everybody here and there are all right. It's now there's cordial relationship and everybody these days. But before, in those days, oh God, you cannot move around freely. So those things is terrible. Then we talk about transportation. That is very, very. That is not like these days now. It's good, but that time it's very bad. You have to wait in the cold for the transport, and if you are lucky, you won't get mocked, or people will.
Well, in the early days, I was a student nurse.
Okay.
And I used to more or less live a couple of days in my mum's house, and spend the rest of the time in the nurses' quarters.
Okay.
When I wasn't working, I'd just leave work and go straight to the nurses' quarters. Well, life there in those days were tough. I mean, my first 6 months here, I was beaten by some Hells Angels with a motorcycle chain. I took a really good battering with a motorcycle chain.
Yeah.
And I decided after that I was going to do some martial arts, actually, and, train myself to teach myself how to, or join a school.
Self-defense.
To learn some self-defense.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to do that.
Yeah.
Because being one of the only black persons in that area for a long time, it was a little bit. I stuck with a sore thumb, really.
I was surprised when I meet a black person on the street.
Yes.
And I say hello. I got no response.
Yes.
And I couldn't believe that in London was so different from Wakefield, because when you saw your own fellows back in Wakefield,
yes,
everyone just stop and say hello and everything.
Yorkshire, did my training. I came back, worked in East London. Then I started to get the idea. I started to love it. I told my husband I'm getting settled, because initially the language I couldn't understand.
Yes.
We were taught Queen's English.
Okay.
When I came here, people were speaking dialects.
Yes.
Different dialects.
Yes.
Especially when I went to Yorkshire. So I contacted my husband. I said, I think I'm coming home. But as time went on, I started to love it.
Yes.
So, and we started to make our home in East London. And I've always loved it. My children were born in East London.
And I merely survived because of my pride. And the loneliness wouldn't leave me alone. Such a dread to be on your own. My woman left and she didn't say why. Well, I guess I had to cry. Many rivers I've crossed, but just where to begin? Been playing for time.
We've also been going around showing exhibition. We've been to our local school near us here. We've been to where the centers to show people how they live in those days, and what we have been gathering from those who live it. And we find out that the experience is just a valuable thing. Even those 60s, my own experience was that there is no heating. There's not much heating. Most of the heating in this area was the one you used to coal. That's why we have a coal miners, and where people heat the house, and you see the smoke coming through the chimney, And no matter how you use this, heating system, it's just temporary for a while. When it's run out, you find out that the outside the room becomes cold again. And the general experience that we're getting from the people about the 50s and 60s, as you were saying in the interview, was that housing was a problem. Nobody wants the black. There's always a label there, no blacks. And it was an issue for people of that era, which is also my own era.
Every time I find myself thinking of committing some dreadful crime.
In terms of staff, we are not a paid staff. We run this charity purely on volunteers. That means to say when we have projects, we tend to advertise for volunteers, and it's based on sessional workers and volunteers to help us throughout that project. And once the project is finished, then we have to let go of our volunteers. And when we have another project, we recruit volunteers.
My name's Joseph. I'm a volunteer at Integrators Charity. I've been involved in a number of different projects, from football to drama to the IT training, which has involved different backgrounds. There's been younger children, elderly people, and I've seen the impacts which it's had on people's lives as people come back and tell us is there new projects which we're gonna be doing, so it's a very interesting charity. And the good thing is there's a diversity of different projects, different things which we continuously keep catering for the community. And I just keep, I enjoy the whole volunteer experience because you get to see the challenges which people are facing in the communities. You get to see the results which doing the projects, the effects which it has on people's lives and things like that. So another good thing has been this Heritage Lottery project which we've been working on, because it's made me be able to reflect on the changes which have come out of the whole 50-year period of growing up in England. You don't really know the opportunities, but when you look back sometimes you can see that things have become easier, as opposed to people might reflect and say, oh, things are hard, but it was harder. And when you look at the older people and they say that they wouldn't go back, we should feel a bit more privileged to the conditions and the opportunities. It might not be huge, but it's a lot better than it was in the past. So, yeah.
My name is Julie Edwards. I'm a volunteer with Integrators Charity of UK. I like volunteering because people that I see every day and the work that Integrators does to the community, helping people, especially now that the economy is very bad. People are not able to go and pay for facilities, so they can walk in here, go into work or coming from work and use the machines, exercise for their health and well-being. We also do yoga, and people come in when they like after work or going to work and do yoga. So Integrators really being in Hackney is a very good organization for the ethnic minority, because most of them don't really have anywhere to go, or like going for the gym, they can afford the gym. But being here in the middle of Hackney, catering for the people, I think is a very good thing.
Hi, my name is Patrick. I'm a volunteer with Integrators. I've been a volunteer with Integrators for a number of years now. My first encounter with Integrators was with regard to a homework and drama club, and I helped them with the setting up of the club and delivering the activities, speaking with the children and making sure that they did their homework and helped them get to another level, not only at the club but also at school. From there we moved on to do a number of health related activities, and they involve keeping fit, yoga, exercise and fitness, and some swimming sessions. And then on we did some drama sessions, again with children and young people. So as you can see, Integrators kind of interacts with lots of people from varying ages in the borough. They've been established for a number of years. They've got some good links with some local schools and with other community groups. I would say one of the best things about Integrators is how the community interacts with them. They know that they're there, they've got a huge IT suite, so everybody's welcome to come and work on their IT projects. They've got exercise and fitness materials, so people can come and do exercise and fitness with Integrators. Or if they want to, they can just come in and sit on the massage chair or come in and have a chat. They're always open, they're always welcoming, and long may it continue.
Yes, I'd rather be right in my